to sustain life.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So you want a house for your kids
Right.
because you want to protect your family and provide for them and have a house.
Right.
So it's a contract where we both think we're doing a good thing.
Okay.
Right? So if I loan out $100,000 to 10 people at 1% interest each, that means among them there's $1 million in that society.
Right.
100,000 times 10 is $1 million. And even at 1% interest, I'm a nice banker, right?
Okay. Right.
That means each one of you have to pay back $101,000.
Okay.
All right. So
Gotcha.
collectively, you owe $1,010,000.
Okay.
The problem is, as a group, you only have $1 million. How do you guys all pay your debt off if that group only has $1 million? You can't. It's a mathematic fraud. Interest in the Bible.
Yeah.
There's numerous.
Which chapter? What parts of the Bible?
Deuteronomy.
Okay. What does it talk about?
I'm not like a Bible kind of guy.
Okay.
I'm just saying that prophets across various religions, like for instance, the Bible and the Islam and Christianity both forbid it. In Judaism,
What do they forbid?
Usury or interest or riba. They all mean the same thing. Riba.
So you're saying interest is bad and forbid in the Bible? Okay, so
they call it usury.
So if someone were to invest in my company,
that's a totally different thing.
Okay, what kind of interest are you talking about?
Well, first of all, like just because somebody wants to get paid for giving money,
right?
That doesn't give you permission to victimize other people.
Yeah.
So in that expression, right? What will happen is 9 people can pay their debts, but it's mathematically impossible for that 10th person to pay their debt. No matter how hard they worked, no matter how honest they were, you can't pay $1,010,000 if there's only $1 million in your society.
Okay, so what are you trying to do?
Create a monetary system and lending system that doesn't rely upon interest.
Well, so everybody gains. Is that your goal?
You create abundance.
I mean, right? Yes, you want to create it. You don't want to create people that get in debt and 9 people gain, one person loses.
Well,
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, just like the government victimizes people by withholding millions and billions of dollars and other resources that that they're keeping access from us.
Yeah, we don't want victims. Right. The institutionalized victimization of people.
Right.
So it's just like a good analogy is, you know what a Ponzi is?
I've heard about it.
Okay.
Heard about it.
A Ponzi is where, let's say I started a Ponzi and I said, hey, 8 people that I just met, say, hey, each of you give me $100 a piece.
All right.
I get $800. And I said, the reason why you're going to give me $800 or $100 each is that as you progress through this pyramid scheme, once you're 2 or 3 levels up, you're going to get $800 in exchange for that $100 that you paid.
That's a scam.
All right. Well, the reason why it's a scam is you eventually run out of more people to recruit.
Right.
It's a mathematic fraud.
It's a mathematic fraud.
Interest is also a mathematic fraud.
Depending on
not depending on
interest on a house.
Period.
Interest on
interest on anything.
A fraud for who?
It's a mathematic fraud.
The lender or
the borrower.
The borrower.
It's impossible for all of the borrowers to pay back. Some of them can pay.
But what if I have a company, and what if I want to borrow $350,000 and I give back that in 2 years of time with a 25% interest? Okay. What if I pay back the money and the interest? Then it's not impossible.
I'm not saying it's impossible for some people.
Okay.
I'm saying it's impossible for all of the people.
So how would that be impossible for me?
Well, just like in the Ponzi. Just in the Ponzi, some people get the $800.
But some don't.
Most of them won't.
But for my case, I'm borrowing this kind of money, and say I become successful, what would be...
If there's 10 people that do the exact same thing as you is, like you know how earnest you are and say, I'm honest, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
It's impossible for all of you to make it happen.
Absolutely right, because not everybody has the wisdom. And
No. Now you're making it about the intent and the goodwill and the power of the borrower.
How about the business plan?
No, it has no.
What does that have to do with?
The availability of the money. How do you pay back $1,010,000 if there's only $1 million existing?
But you create a business. You create a plan.
Your business doesn't create money.
But
you have to earn the money.
My product creates money.
No, it doesn't. It has to exist. The money has to exist.
But if I open up 4 shops,
that's good. The money has to exist.
And
you don't invent money. You have to earn the money.
Right. And I borrow $325,000, and I open up 4 shops, and they sell, say, $500,000.
You're making this an elaborate question. It's not so elaborate. Ultimately, the money does not exist. One cannot pay what does not exist.
Oh, I hear you.
If only $1 million exists, you can't pay $1,010,000. No matter how good your business plan is, no matter how blessed you are or whatever.
What if I invest that $1 million into something that could prosper $1,000,000?
All of that money was created as a debt also. Every dollar in the United States was created as a debt with interest.
Okay.
So if you create a dollar, you owe a dollar with interest.
Right.
So how do you pay the dollar with interest?
Oh,
you have to create another dollar.
Yeah, right.
Well, now it's a dollar plus 2 times the interest.
Right. It's hard. It's hard.
Not hard. It's impossible. There's a difference between hard and impossible.
Okay.
It's impossible.
How did you figure this out?
It's just math.
Math.
That's what. This is why Jesus was calling them thieves.
Okay, I got you.
Because it's impossible. It's all theft through color of law. Because if 10 people get loans, right, one of them will absolutely mathematically, no matter what he does, no matter how qualified he does, there's only $1 million that exists. So you can't pay as a society $1,010,000.
What if I bought?
The money has to exist.
What if I took out $100,000, bought a piece of property with that, and sold it for $250,000?
Okay, where'd the $250,000 come from?
The property.
The $250,000 had to exist, and all of that $250,000 was created as a debt with interest.
Coming from the buyer.
Doesn't matter where it came from. Ultimately, it's a game of musical chairs.
Okay.
Right? That's a good way to view it.
Right.
No matter how hard you run, no matter what you do, no matter what sneakers you wear, no matter how much you pray, there's only 10 seats and there's 11 people looking for the seats.
I understand. So what's your point?
The point is we need to end that system because it's enslaving the planet.
Okay, absolutely. Because there's only so many people with $10 million, and there's only so many people with $100,000. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying it's a system.
The money has to be there. You're saying the money has to be there.
It has to exist.
Right. No, I can't put $100,000 into a property, and then if nobody buys it, they don't have the money to buy it, then it doesn't.
That's confusing to me. Ultimately, whether you buy something or not buy, like keep it really simple.
Right.
You don't have to buy anything.
Okay.
All right. Every dollar, it says Federal Reserve note. A note is a promissory note, which is a loan.
Yep.
Like you have a promissory note to buy a house.
Right.
That's a mortgage.
Right.
You're promising to pay.
Right.
All right. Well, they give you a loan for $100,000.
Right.
But you have to pay back $250,000.
Right.
The $150,000 in interest was never created.
Right. Oh, I understand what you're saying. So what do you do to
alleviate that?
Yes.
Number one, you create, like if you want $100,000, I create $105,000.
Smart.
Right?
Smart.
And then
because you levitate on that.
Well, hold on. You create $105,000. The $5,000 goes to pay the modern banking system.
Okay.
All right. You pay back $105. So the difference is you created $105, and the debt is $105. So it's sustainable. Under the existing system, you create $100,000, but you pay back $250,000. So the debt.
Really impossible.
Exactly.
I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make totally sense.
Yeah.
How did you figure all this out?
Just like you have your unique
perspective,
with that thing that you focus on.
Right.
This is what I focused on.
Okay. All right.
Because it's the most fundamental. That's why Jesus called them thieves.
Yeah.
Because
we called them thieves for other reasons. They were stealing, just not money. They were stealing from God, and when you steal from God, it's the ultimate sin.
Well, I mean specifically, it's very tangible in this system. How, if a banker loans out 10 loans at $100,000 a piece, no matter what happens, he's going to get one of those houses back.
Absolutely right.
No matter how qualified those borrowers.
It's a mathematical equation. And a mathematical equation works. based on math, not based on faith. How much you pray, how much you're willing to do, how much interest you, how much skill you have. It's a mathematical equation, and because God created money, okay? God created money. He created the system of money. So, I mean, all money comes from God. Like technically, God's created, the man to create this.
Well, man created money.
Man
Ultimately
created money, but technically,
it's just like governments in a way.
Right.
All money is an energy transformation transfer system.
Right.
So it's a way that I can transfer my commercial energy to somebody else.
Right.
And it just facilitates trades.
Right.
And when it's done morally, meaning without usury, the way we're doing it, we just give it away.
Right.
The other system's created as a debt with interest.
Right. A debt with interest is a debt.
Well, it's unsustainable. You always have this much debt and this much money.
That's why people lose when they go to finance things and they go to do all these things and buying a house and they don't have the money to buy the house. And they go, well, I'll get it eventually, and they don't. It ends up getting taken away and foreclosed on, or it's like if you don't have a job, you want to go finance a car for $10,000. You go, I'll get a job. It's okay. You're taking a risk.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, if everybody had the best job, if there's 10 people that had the best job in the world, it would be impossible for all 10 of them to pay their debt.
Absolutely.
So what it is, it's this contract where both people who believe they're doing a benevolent thing, the borrower and the lender, through this system, they both think they're doing a good thing, but it ends up creating victims with mathematical certainty.
Right. So you want to take over the victims.
No, we want to eliminate the system, the system which victimizes people.
What system do you have?
Well,
better than that.
Well, number one, we give money away.
Okay.
All right. In Ithaca, they loan money with no interest at all.
Right. That way, you're not creating chance.
The victim system.
Right. You're creating where everybody can possibly gain, and you're creating more money to go around.
Yeah, we're creating a game of musical chairs where there's 12 chairs and there's 12 people.
Okay.
If there's 13 people, then we're going to have 13 chairs. If there's 15 people, there's 15 chairs. In the existing system, there's 10 chairs and 11 people.
Right, I understand that.
Right, so then if there's another loan, then there's 12 chairs and 13 people.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's sustainable.
Okay, yeah.
Man, I got to pee.
Oh, okay.